Okay, I have a customer that just got his machine, and he imported some DXF parts. Now, these are kind of slip-in dividers. These are out of 1/4-inch material, and they're going to slide into a 3/4-inch box he's going to make with the SmartBench and have a series of 1/4-inch grooves to let these things slide in. So the issue he had is when they came in as a DXF, he couldn't cut them because if he went to do it, what happened is the lines are not all joined. So the only way to really do that efficiently is to grab them all and go to the join command. And right now there's 8 different open vectors, and after we join them with this tolerance setting, there'll be only one, and that's what we want. Now anywhere I click on that, that's just one piece, so I can nest it. So his question was, well, how does he do his nesting too? So then we highlight it, and then we come down here to the nesting icon, and we're going to go through our options. So I'm assuming he may be using a 1/4-inch bit, but I'm not sure. It's 1/4-inch material. He could be using an 1/8-inch bit and going slow and just knocking it all out in one pass. So typically what I do is I usually have a 1/2 inch, twice the radius of the bit or more. So we may have a 1-inch clearance between parts and a border gap of 1.5 inches. That gives me room to screw this down onto my indexing jig that I use. There's a separate video on my YouTube channel. Look up indexing jig. And that goes into that little MDF 1/2 inch plate at the end of the table. On one end, and the other end, we can do the same thing into the panels. So we highlight the part that we want to do, and we tell it how many parts we want to make. Say I want to make 20 of these. I don't know how many slots there were in the side pieces that we're going to look at in a minute. Then you apply it, and it puts that 20 there. If it doesn't put the number of the parts there, you've done something wrong. So I'm going to nest and pack it from the bottom left-hand corner here, and I will preview it. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, I think if I pack it a little better, I can probably get another one in because it looks like it's going to be real close for getting another one up here. So if I change this clearance between parts to 0.5, let's see what that does. I'm going to do Control Z, which would undo the nesting, but it now has everything selected. Control Z is just a typical undo command. You could also come up to the edit and do the undo. So we're going to highlight this again. There's 20 of them that it's going to do, and with a 1/2 inch spacing between, if we preview the parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So with the shape of this, you can't quite get the second one in there and have it straddle here to here. That's why these are dropped up and down a little bit. It can't quite fit. Now, if we use an 1/8 inch tool, then we could. So we have to play with this. But so, okay, we're getting 14 out of them out of whack. He cuts a bunch of these parts. So that's basically what I would do. I would now re-nest it, just tell it 14. I don't need this extra sheet with the carryovers of the 20 that I told it. So I'll do Control Z to unnest it again. And then this time I'm going to tell it only do 14. That way I'll just have one nice sheet done. And it's showing 14 units, and I'll preview. So there we are, ready to cut. Come on over, do the cutting path with the tool. I'm going to go 0.25 deep. I'm going to, rather than do this in 2 passes, I'm going to do it in 1, just be aggressive. But I may slow my speed down some. I'm going to be on the outside of the pass, do a separate last pass. No. How am I going to hold it? I'll do tabs, and you know how to edit tabs. We'll get into that in another video, and I would want to add ramps in and do that ramp over 3/4 of an inch or so. And we'll calculate. I didn't have anything selected. Grab everything, and no tabs are defined. That's fair. I didn't define any tabs. So there we go with the cutting. And we'll reset the preview and preview all and speed it up. And there's everything. Now, if we have tabs, they would be showing up as well, but we're just going to bypass it for now. And then here's a DXF now in 3/4 inch material of the sides of the box that he's making. And then those pieces that we just did, they slide into these grooves. So they slide into this 1/4 inch groove. And again, usually 1/4 inch plywood is a little undersized, so it should slide right in. the issue we had here, again, is that this DXF that he imported is disconnected. So if I wanted to pocket this out, I can't do it because it doesn't have, it's not a clean individual rectangle. However, I don't want to pocket it out. I want to make one pass with the bit, a 1/4 inch deep, to let those 1/4 inch plywood panels drop in. So what I want to do is actually have the machine cut one pass. I want it to come up and then down and then up and then down and then up, and just kind of go back and forth. But the issue is when you tag multiple lines, you tell it whether you want it to do a conventional or a climb cut, and it's going to optimize based on that information. I'm going to put this on the material. I just highlighted the whole thing, and I'm just going to drag it up and put it on the material. Oh, it doesn't fit, so we have to rotate this as well. But I'll just leave it like this for now. And so if I did a profile cut, I zoom in, and I just said make one pass here, hold down the shift key to select more items. And we get the idea, and then we're going to do a profile cut. And I'll do this. This is a 1/4 inch depth of cut, so I'll just do this in one pass. And I'm going to be outside the line and inside the line. Then I'm going to be outside the line, and I don't need to do any tabs. We'll play with that later, and we'll calculate that. And typically I would do a ramp in too, but we're going to play with that as well when we look at it. But what this will do, I'm going to say it's got open contours. Okay, we can join them. I'm not. I'm going to be separate individual lines. But what that's going to do when we look at it is there's too much travel time that it's not cutting. It's going to come in, and the red line means it's out in the air. Then it goes into the material, the blue line, out in the air. So it's traveling the whole length of the dado to start here and do it. Well, that's not what we want. So what I'm going to have to do is join these lines with an arc. And so I want it to come in this way, and I'll draw an arc that comes from this line, from this edge of this line, so because this is the tool path where the machine is, where the bit is. I want to draw an arc that comes around to here. We're going to go back into our design mode. And this way I don't have to redraw everything from the DXF. I'm just going to clean it. I'm going to say do an arc from here to here. I'm going to push it out as far as I can because my bit, say I'm using a 1/4 inch bit, has to make that swing. And I could do this all the way across each of the, oh, missed it, sorry. I could do this all across and draw them manually all the way across the entire panel, but that'll take a while, so I don't want to do that. I've got 2 in there. I'm going to take the second one and delete it. And we're going to use an array function. I'm going to take this line now, and I'm going to array copy it. So what this is it gives you the ability to take a vector and multiply it so you don't have to draw it multiple times. Okay, so I don't know what the spacing is between here and here, so I can measure that. This is my measuring tool. It'll click, and that was 1.125, an inch and an eighth. Okay, so I want to go back to my array, and I'm going to take this geometry and the spacing needs to be an inch and an eighth. That doesn't look right. No, okay, that's just putting them against each other. So they need to be from here to here is the gap. Sorry, I'm going to undo, Control Z. Sorry. So I'm going to measure from where my starting point is now, where I want the starting point of the next one to be. And that's an inch and 7 and 3, oh, I'm sorry. And that's an inch and 3/4. So that's what my array spacing is going to be. So I'll go back in, grab the array, grab the vector that I want to copy, tell it what I want to do, and I'm going to switch that to 1.75, and that I only want it to move in the X direction. Don't need any movement in the Y, and I don't know how many I'm going to have, so I'm going to make 20. I'm just ballparking. I'm not going to count the drawing. It's not worth it. And we'll tell it to copy. That is what I want on this end. So the tool is going to come up and then down, and there's going to be no wasted space except the time that it's out of the material, but it's going to be at full depth. So let's look at it and see how many we need. So that's 20. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo. And I'm going to tell it this time that I have to select it. 25. And that's got it. So I need 25. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Let's see, on the bottom, I have to go the other way because I'm coming in here, down here. So I have to be on this inside. It'll be a different shaped arc. So it's going to be tools coming up here, down here. So it's going to connect this and this. I'm just going to drag it out as far as I can. And I'm going to array copy that and assume that it's going to have the same, will have the same spacing, and assuming it's 25, it could be off by 1 or 2. And that looks perfect. So now the idea is that the bit's going to come in, cut in that what's drawn to be a 1/4 inch. But it's following just this line. It doesn't know where this line is. This line could be gone for that matter. We don't need it, but it came in with the drawing. So it's going to follow this. It's going to join to this. I'm going to have to do a join command so it doesn't stop there. It's going to be a smooth transition, arc out and come down. When it gets to the bottom of it, it's still following this line, which will be joined to this. It'll just be a continuous hook around. That's how we're going to do it. That'll work. So how do we do that? We need to now join. I could grab this and join it individually. But I think I'm going to have to just grab them manually. Let's see. No, let's see what happens if I grab them all this way. Because these won't match. They won't find each other. They're too far away from the end. So let's see what that does. So I need that and this. I need this. This. Why is it not auto selected? Oh. And then if we join, interesting. So we have a problem with the array. Okay, and then when we go to join them, we may have problems. There's different ways to do this. When I grab one of them, it's grabbing all the ones that were similar in that array. So when I copied it over as an array, I had told it to group the copies. We don't want to do that because now I can't just grab all these lines. It unselects the array. I can't use the group command that way. It won't let me. It doesn't give me an option to try to join. But if I hold down the shift key and manually select them, I can do it that way. And then I just have to grab the proper lines. And then I can join them. No, I can't. So you have to ungroup these. I'm going to right button and ungroup the objects back to the original layers. Now they're all individuals. So now I can say I want to take, I don't need to do them all right now. Take this and manually grab the proper lines. Holding down the shift key to multi-select. And then I'm going to group them, and there we are. And now when I touch this line, it follows all the way down, and I have to do the lower ones too. So what happens if I just try to auto-grab stuff? Now that I've ungrouped them, I can grab all of these, both lines, even the line that's not going to be able to join because it's too far away. Because these lines aren't going to be close enough to join in the tolerance because they're just not there. Then this still works, and now that's nice and quick. And once we do the bottom, we'll be good to go. So I can highlight, grab all the bottom ones, and turn off their grouping. I'm going to ungroup them. Then I'm just going to grab everything. That should work. And go to the group command, join them. Now, when I grab that, it works. And as we get closer to here, it'll work as well. But I don't know how far I grabbed in. So I'm just testing the technique. If I grab everything on the lower end, I'm going to join them. Everything on the upper end, I'm going to join them. Now I should have continuous lines. So that's a real quick way to do it. Connect it with the arcs. Give enough room for the bit to work its way in, and then it's on the outside of this arc. And then ungroup everything so that each of these, they're now connected because I joined them, so that each of these arcs is separate. And then I can multi-select everything. And because it would join these because they're tighter enough inside that tolerance level that we set with the join command, but it disregards this line and this line because they're too far away. So it just disregarded them. So it's only actually working on this. And then when we machine it, we grab our tool, we're going 1/4 inch deep. We're only going to do it in one pass. And this will be just a profile. And we'll let that go. We'll calculate it. And it'll be one continuous, nice setup. So I'll have to reset the preview and then preview all. And again, the first ones may have been boogered a little bit because of all the different things that I did, but that's the process that we want to do. And showing all this and selecting different lines. But so now it's just a continuous snake. Now, we have to rotate things. Again, this panel doesn't fit on the sheet. It's wider than a 4896 sheet is wide. So we're going to come back in, and I want to show how to rotate something. I'm going to take it and rotate it 90 degrees and apply it. I can manually grab it and place it where I want, or I can just tell it to nest it. But I will now go back in and recalculate I don't need this one. This was the one that was already there. I'm going to delete that. That's what had the extra lines in the beginning. I'll recalculate everything. It spins everything. I'm going to go in and preview it and slow it down a little bit and preview all. And it just starts and does its magic. Now, you can set this where it has no side margin. I can manually nest it. I can see that two of them, if they're not going to fit across it, there's two of them aren't going to fit going up and down either. But I don't know the size of this. We maybe will fit three of them side by side. I'm not sure. I'll look at that in a moment, but this is how we're going to do this. And then I can just either copy that by doing, I'm going to cancel the simulation. But I can either grab the whole thing and do Control-C to copy it. That makes a copy in the air. And then Control-V puts the copy on the table. And then I'm going to drag it over. And then now, when I go back to look at my profile lines, it's only doing that one. So I'm going to zoom in a bit and tell it to do this one as well. And hold down the Shift key so make sure I have both of them. And now I can calculate it. It's going to clean it up a little bit. And we'll do the regular, you know how to do the cutouts for the profile out here. This is mainly showing how to get this thing to cut efficiently with the geometry that was given in the DXF file. That's a nice clean toolpath. There we go. I'm Eric Schiller with Yeti Tools Southeast, and that's www.yetismartbench.com. Please don't hesitate to call if you have any questions about the SmartBench. I introduced this to the North American market in 2019 and be happy to answer any questions you have. 205-871-6618. 205-871-6618. Thanks.